Hello, my name is Kelly and I'm going to be reviewing The Blood of Olympus by Riordan. And this is the last book in the Heroes of Olympus series, so it was kind of bittersweet reading it because it's ending, and I know I haven't posted videos of me recording the other books, but I have read all of them. Well, 10 of them now, so. And if you haven't read that book, then I have no idea why you're even watching this video. Because, like, what are you waiting for? You need to read all the books first, and then read this one, and then come back, and then we can freak out, okay? Because this video is gonna be just literally me freaking out. So now I'm going into spoiler things, so if you don't want to be spoiled, then bye. Okay, well, I've seen a couple book reviews on this already, and I have to say they weren't the greatest, and by watching them I understand why now, because as I was reading it I was like, oh yeah, this is fine, whatever, entertaining, and then when I got done with it I was like, what? So, I don't know, it's kind of like bittersweet, kind of really bittersweet. There's good and there's bad about this book, and first I'm going to get over all the bad stuff. Bear with me because I do have some good stuff. So let's just get started with that. I didn't really like the perspectives, the POVs in this book. I didn't really understand why there had to be like Piper's point of view. I mean, it was okay, but we already had Jason's. So why would we need Piper's too when they're like going out? Like, why couldn't it be like Percy's instead? And it really sucks. And I know that this isn't Percy's story anymore, but it just would have been nice to hear some of his thoughts. Yeah, so the perspectives were weird for me. And also, all the fights felt really rushed. Like, it took them months to get to Athens to fight for 5 minutes. And then when they get there, they find out that Gaia is actually over at Camp Half-Blood. So they have to go all the way back. And wasn't Gaia supposed to be some all-powerful force that they were supposed to fight? So how did some thunder, fire, and a lullaby destroy her? And I thought it was going to be this epic battle. All the demigods, Greek and Roman, like, fighting to bring her down, but it was just Piper, Leo, and Jason, so I was like, she's supposed to be like this all-powerful, how? So, some stuff about Jason, I mean, like, he didn't get passed out by a head injury this time, but no, he got stabbed, and he couldn't fight for a while, and that's typical Jason. And, what also bothered me about the POVs is that we almost got to see Percy die from Jason's eyes. And they're underwater, and Jason's fighting better underwater than Percy is. So, because, you know, Percy's the son of Poseidon, so it would just make sense that he would be, like, more powerful underwater. And then Leo, later on, he had this quest, and he could take 2 people with him, but he took Piper and Jason, but they already had their own POVs, so I didn't understand why he couldn't bring someone else, like Percy, or Annabeth, or Hazel, or even Frank. I feel like all the main characters were like pushed aside and were background characters, because even in the fight against the Greek and the Romans, where's Percy? We didn't see him at all. We didn't hear what he was doing at all. So I didn't like that either. Now let me tell you about Reina. I really enjoyed her perspective. I enjoyed finding out more about her demigod powers from her godly parent. She could give some of her power to like someone else, but then in return she like felt their feels, and when she did that to Nico, and she said that he felt more sadness than a whole legion. I can't even express how much their friendship meant to me throughout this whole book. Their friendship was just so cute, and them protecting each other was so cute. And Nico throwing a like a rage when he thought someone else important to him was taken away. It just was so cute. And they were just worrying about each other, and then how like Nico tried to give her advice on about the ghost, and then Elena was worried that he would fade into the shadows, and I was just like, these people, I can't deal with them, they're so cute. We got to see the Amazons and the Hunters for like 5 seconds, but it was nice to see Hyla, Reina's sister, and Reina fight together, so that was cool. And then learning about Orion too, because I didn't know the story behind him. We learn new things in these books. Yeah. But it also kind of sucked because we learned a lot about Reina in this book and we don't get any more of her ever. So we get like attached to her for no reason, and it's just sad. I have to give a big thanks to Riordan for all his books and the hard work he put into all of them, but mostly for the Nico POV. All 4 of his chapters made and left me more emotionally damaged than I already was or am. And I'm glad Nico got some kind of spotlight in this book, because I think he does do more stuff for the 7 than they realize. So it was nice to just hear him smile, and like for him like staying at Camp Half-Blood, I thought that's gonna be really good for him, and I just want my baby to be happy because he is my favorite character. So Will Solis, I think he's a cutie. And him and Jason are really big dorks when they're talking to Nico, and I don't know, I was just reading that and I kind of got spoiled on Tumblr before, and then I saw this like Will and Nico stuff, and I was like, is that made up? Or is that a thing? And I was reading about it and I was like, this is the thing, and it was so cute, and I was like, Nico, aww. And I'm so glad he confessed to Percy. He's so brave, and Percy's so stupid, and I don't think Will was mentioned at the end of that chapter just for fun. And another thing about the perspectives, Leo, he said something that mentioned Percy like wheezing after running, and he thought it was like post effects from Tartarus, and that made me really upset because we didn't get a perspective from Percy or Annabeth to know how they were really affected by Tartarus, and we got to see a little bit of Annabeth freaking out in one of Piper's chapters, but it didn't feel like they even went through it because that kind of side was like tossed away. When all of the demigods were fighting the giants with their parents, we didn't even know what they said to each other. Like, what did Percy say to Poseidon? And honestly, what did Athena say to Annabeth? Because Annabeth went on that whole thing for her mom, and we don't even get to like hear if Athena like acknowledged that at all, or and also what the heck happened to Nico in Tartarus? He kept on saying, well, oh this and oh that, but then like what happened to him? And also it mentioned a little bit that Nico could kind of manipulate dreams, like Hazel with the mist, but we never got more on that. And does Reina end up with a god? Because it said that her heart won't be stolen by a demigod, so is Leo even going to go back to see his friends to make sure, like, oh yeah, I'm alive, hey? And what about Frank and his life fire stick, and Hazel returning from the dead? Like, they made those big points, and then he just dropped them. And there's no Percy and Sally reunion, and what the heck happened to Thalia? Like, there's all these unanswered questions that just left holes, and I'm not sure if I'm the only one that cares about it, but it just felt like there needed to be more. So, as you could tell by now, I had a lot of problems with the POVs and whose POV it was, so yeah. But there were some good things that I liked. A few of the Piper's chapters I liked because I feel like people compare her too much to Annabeth, and she needed some like justification, kind of like feel like, hey, Piper is actually useful, and she did kick butt sometimes, like with the chain heartbeat and stuff. I thought that was a really good chapter that she proved herself in, and I was like, yeah, Piper, people should like you, and they shouldn't completely despise you for not being Annabeth. So I did like a few of her chapters, but again, Jason could have kind of talked for her, and Hazel should have had a chapter so she could talk for Frank too, but you can't win. And the only other part I really stood up and cheered for was the Festus part, because I wasn't expecting that at all. And also everything Nico made up for everything else in this book, because Nico is my fave. Overall, I think this book just had a lot of hype and a lot of waiting and anticipation, and it didn't really live up to it with the fights and some people's personal issues. And we just didn't have answers for all of it. So yeah, overall I think it was pretty good. I mean, I liked reading it, but I don't think it's what I thought it would be for the last book. But don't get me wrong, I love Riordan, and I love all his books, and I love Greek mythology, and I'm so excited for Magnus Chase and to start reviewing that with you guys. So, I mean, like, if you liked everything about this book, then that's really good, and I wish I could love everything about this book, but I just didn't, and it sucks, but I don't know. That's all for The Blood of Olympus, and thank you for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe for other book reviews. Thanks again. Bye.